Hello everyone and welcome to Chef Carter's Cooking Corner. This is my first video, kind of a sample teaching myself video how to do videos for YouTube. But I do welcome you to join me, and today we're going to be learning how to make Mama's fried green tomatoes. It is on my website, chefcarterscookingcorner.com. It's all one word, no apostrophe over the S though. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already prepped my site. Everything's nice and clean. A good chef cleans as they go. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut up our tomatoes. I found these beauties yesterday. Preferably, I like to use the ones that have the red stripes forming already. But this is what I found, and I'm going to use it. So we're going to go ahead and cut our tomatoes in slices, about 1/4 inch slices. Now these tomatoes are quite firm. Now I'm kind of having resistance with this, so I think what'll work better is my fillet knife, which I have right here. It also will help me make straighter cuts where the chef's knife was not as precise. Now watch that thumb as you're doing this. This is a little tricky. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it this way to get that little corner off. I will use that. Watch that thumb so we don't cut ourselves. Alright, so our first tomato is cut up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you on my first tomato. It's approximate, 1/4 inch. My slices could be better. I should have started with the fillet knife to begin with. So I'm putting my knife at the top so we don't knock it down. So I have, for the mix, an egg with a couple tablespoons of milk. And you're going to want this to kind of soften the egg up. And I also put just a dash of seasoning salt, because we want the seasoning in every layer, but we don't want to over season it. So that's why we put just a dash. So this will be our middle step actually. Our first step will be the flour, and you can kind of see where I put just a dash of seasoning salt over there. And I blend it in very nicely. So that'll be our first step. And then our last step will be the cornmeal mix. Now I always get the self-rising yellow cornmeal mix. It just seems to taste better with it. If you just have cornmeal, it will work too. Alright, so I'm going to put that to the side. I'm also going to get a plate where the coated tomatoes will go. And I'm going to start my skillet on a low flame. Okay, a low flame, because I'm using an iron skillet, which you'll see in just a second. And you will see that it's going to get nice and warm. Once we get all these coated, we'll pump up the heat. Again, thank you for joining me at Chef Carter's Cooking Corner. Alright, so here's my first one. Kind of working around my camera here. In the future, I will have some helpers. My nephew, my brother. Hopefully my sister-in-law will get in this action too. So as you can see, we start by coating all the surfaces of the tomato. Some will not look as coated as others. That's alright. Alright, so then we dip it. And then we flip it. Dip and flip. Dip and flip. Alright. And then we're going to take it over to the cornmeal. Again, everything has been lightly seasoned with the seasoning salt. Now you can just use salt and pepper, or you can use your own seasoning. It's up to you. Again, I'm rolling this around, making sure it's covered. Alright. Could have been a little more careful on the slices, but I didn't want to take too much time online with you. You know, I know your time is important. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and carefully flip this in the cornmeal mix. Okay, always keeping an eye on your skillet, which I'm doing, and I'll take you over there in just a moment. So then I'm going to land that on the big plate. Alright, I'm going to flip this one. Take that over to the cornmeal mix. Again, this is for 2 tomatoes. I'm just showing you one today. I'll do the other one later, because it's nothing like fresh fried tomatoes, fresh fried green tomatoes. Alright, again, cover all surfaces. Okay, we'll put that to the side. Move this one over. For this, I don't know, just whatever gets it done faster for you. This is one of the end pieces here. No problem. They're all delicious. All right. Okay then. Now, put just a little bit on the one tomato I had. Okay, let's move this on over. Sometimes it'll get an air bubble like that. Just pop the air bubble and flip it. No problem. Alrighty then. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our 5th one here. And a 6th one. So I say 2 or 3 per person. You know, depending on who the person is. Some people really love their fried green tomatoes. And you know, there's a lot of things you can do with the fried green tomatoes. I like to serve it on a bed of lettuce, just plain lettuce. And you know, my mom, she loves making BLTs out of her fried green tomatoes. She often would do so in the summer. It makes for a nice light sandwich in the summer. You know, especially we grew up old school, no air. Okay, you see I'm making a little bit of mess here. That's alright. That's okay. Alright, sometimes cooking gets messy, but we clean, right? Alrighty then. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put those there. And you can see there's still plenty left for the 2nd tomato, which again I'm going to do a little later. While I'm finishing that up, I'm going to pop the heat up on my skillet. And I'm going to wash my hands really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'll wash my hands, slide this over so you can see it. Alright. So I got my skillet heating up, and it's going to get nice and hot. And again, it has been heating for a few minutes now since I started cutting the tomatoes. And you know, iron skillets, they tend to hold heat. It takes a minute for them to get warmed up, but once they do, they hold that heat. So please be very careful when handling your iron skillet. Now, once we have our iron skillet, we're going to have to make sure it's nice and hot. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you over here to the skillet. Here we go. My nice skillet. See, it's just a skillet. It's on medium heat. And what I'm going to do now is, again, there's no oil. You do not want to do this when there's oil in the pan. Only when the pan is empty. Okay, see how nice and hot that is? That's ready for frying. So, go ahead and move my towels out of the way. Alright, we're going to put just a little bit of oil. The recipe says about 1/4 cup. You just need just enough to cover the bottom of your pan. As you can see here, that's what it's doing. While that's heating up, you can kind of see the ripples. I'm going to show you a little trick I've learned so that you can check recipes on your phone and still be sanitary. You put your phone in a plastic bag, and you can use this over and over again. You know, just have that for your special phone. I'm sure they have cases they sell online. You can get anything online anymore. Okay, so we waited just a couple minutes for that. So now what I'm going to do is carefully place my tomatoes in the skillet. Okay, these are nice and green. Okay, this one I'm just going to kind of scoop instead. There. Ooh, careful there. Gotta be careful. The grease is hot. You know, those of you who grew up in the South, even though I didn't grow up in the South, I'm only the first generation to grow up here in the North. I grew up old-fashioned. It's amazing. I remember getting popped in the head a few times while the iron skillet was on and they were frying chicken, and they always fried that chicken up hot. So again, these are nice and green tomatoes. Preferably, I prefer ones that have just turned red or have the little red stripes. For some reason, I believe they taste a little better. Okay, so I'm going to turn this up just a hair to get this frying a little bit hotter. You want to watch the flame though on your skillet. So here you can kind of see the flame. It's not too high. Here is high, so you want about medium. Once your skillet gets hot, you want about medium. Alright, so while you're watching that fry, I'm going to go ahead and clean up a little bit. I want to actually save this for later. I'm going to cover these up and put them in the refrigerator. Since I only did one tomato, you know, we can always reuse those. Alright, but I would not keep, if you do decide to do this, do not keep it more than 24 hours. And make sure they're covered in the refrigerator. Alright, so they're frying. Oh, they smell delish. I don't know if you've ever had a fried green tomato, but they are so yummy. Right. Again, my mom, she would make them with into BLTs, 1 or 2 slices, and she'd always use the white bread. You know, lettuce. Sometimes, you know, the tomato. Sometimes, or not tomato. Sometimes she put bacon on it. Sometimes not. I guess that's what BLT is, bacon, tomato, and lettuce. But we didn't always use the bacon. But sometimes, you know, being from the South, if we did, the tomatoes would actually get fried in the bacon grease. Maybe not the healthiest of solutions, but it's fried. It's not that healthy to start with. Alright, I'm going to give that just a couple more seconds. I'm over here wiping down the surface behind the camera, so we'll have a landing spot for our tomatoes once they're nice and golden brown. Alright. Just a little better. Alrighty then. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and flip these over. Kind of got a short fork here. But this is not my first go around. Okay, they look beautiful. I have a little too much cornmeal on that one. Alright, we'll flip that over just a second just to get that cornmeal cooked on the other side. Alrighty then. Yes, they look beautiful. Yes, if you think these look beautiful, easy recipe, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to both my YouTube channel, Chef Carter's Cooking Corner, and my website. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get a plate ready. Alright, I want to put these on paper towels. Actually, I have some fancy napkins today. But they will work. They will work. Alright, let me check these. See how this looks on this side. Oh yeah. Just a couple more moments, I think. Go ahead and flip that around. Ooh. Let's try this over here. Alright, I'm going to start removing some of these. This one's nice and brown on both sides. Check this one. Yes. Actually, I'm going to turn this down a hair. It's getting hot. You got to monitor your temperature. And when you're a beginning cook, it's kind of hard to tell. But if it's starting to brown really quickly, you may want to go ahead and turn that temperature down. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and use this because that temperature went hot. And as I said, once the heat gets up on these iron skillets, it stays hot. Now, tell you how southern old-fashioned my family is. We actually have an iron skillet that's from the mid-1800s, which is amazing. I probably cooked these a little too high. I should, my bad. But, I'm nervous. And I think they look pretty good. Now, some people may salt them after they get out of the oven. I'm someone who, I like a little salt, but I do not like a lot of salt. So, these are my fried green tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and remember to turn your heat off on the skillet. You don't want to burn anything down. So again, I thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel. I highly appreciate it. Hello to all of you all out there, and thank you. And good night. And again, if you want the recipe, go to chefcarterscookingcorner.com. All one word.